What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillispie, good win for the Cubs today. A quick little post-game show for you here as we talk about the Cubs and their Game 1 win over the San Francisco Giants. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us on the Cubs Baseball channel. If you're not a subscriber yet, do us a solid and become one. It is so easy. Just click and subscribe, and anytime we got anything going on, you'll know about it. All right, lots to get into today. The Cubs with a win over the San Francisco Giants, a really nice win for the Cubs that starts their 7-game homestand. All these games are crucial at this point, right? And so for the Cubs today, an opportunity against the Giants, one of the teams that they're in the fight for right now to make the postseason. And there's a look at the schedule, the 7-game homestand and a 5-0 win. Justin Steele was absolutely brilliant yet again. And I think if people weren't paying attention, he's getting closer and closer to putting himself right at the top of things as far as the not the Heisman Trophy. And I know I said that the other day. How about the Cy Young Award? I'm not perfect. So sometimes I am thinking one thing and I say another, and try broadcasting baseball play-by-play like I have for years too. I sometimes mess up there as well. So I apologize for not being perfect, but you know what I meant. It's the Heisman of baseball pitchers, right? The Cy Young Award. But he got a lot closer to it today with another just absolutely brilliant performance in a game that really mattered. 8 innings in the start for Steele, only 2 hits allowed, 2 walks and 12 strikeouts. He threw 107 pitches, and he improves to a league best 16-3 with the victory. So he's close to 20. I mean, you get the 20 wins, and you talk about pitching in high leverage games that really matter. That's what these games are. These are really high leverage games. And he was just fantastic. Guys, get in the comments section. That's the way we're going to communicate on here. Craig says Cy Young. Look, I know Cy Young. You guys know Cy Young. And hopefully Justin Steele's going to know Cy Young before this thing's all said and done. But just another absolutely amazing performance by Steele. And again, 8 innings, as you saw, earned run average drops to 2.55 on the year, 16-3. But what's more important is that he led the Cubs to the victory today, one that they needed, and they've got 2 more against the Giants. Then the Diamondbacks are coming into town. The Giants started today in a 4-way tie for the last wild card spot, and who knows how that thing's going to all break out, all the tiebreakers and everything else. But for the Cubs, as I pull up the standings, every single win against one of these contending teams, it's almost like 2 wins. Because you're getting a win, they're getting a loss, and they're not able to move past you in the standings. So there it is. Cubs now 3.5 games up on the rest of the pack there. That's now 3 teams, with the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, and the Reds in there. Rob says, nice dominant win today. Look all the way around, not just the great pitching by Steele, but Seiya Suzuki. I mean, wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago that he was on the bench trying to figure out what was going on? He was struggling. Not anymore. Today was the type of day where you needed some big hits. He had the home run to get the Cubs on the board, then the double, and that led the Cubs offensively. Justin Steele doing the best with every pitch he seemed to throw, no one could hit. Jared says Steele is the man. He's an ace, no doubt about it. Making a case for the Cy Young Award. And it's one thing to put up big numbers, but it's another thing to put up big numbers in games that really matter. High leverage, big situation games. And that's what Steele's doing. I mean, it was the Brewers last time around in a game where the Brewers had won 9 straight, and Steele just poured cold water all over their hot winning streak. Today, the Giants come to town. They run into Steele. And he could have pitched the 9th. He could have came out and pitched the 10th and the 11th and the 12th. Who knows? I mean, they just could not touch him today. Everything was working for him, and they were constantly off balance. Craig says, give him the Heisman too. I say give him the Heisman, right? Why not? I mean, he deserves it. And, I think that's a situation that the Cubs really love every fifth time around is being able to throw him out on the field and know that he's going to give you the best that you could ask for from a starter. Going through the comments, we just dropped a video about the Cubs bullpen. 3 guys pitched in Iowa yesterday that could be in Chicago really soon. Ben Brown, who has been a starter, he was the guy that the Cubs traded to get at the deadline from the Phillies. I'd say he, besides Wicks, was their other big-time option out of the minor leagues, and he had an oblique issue. He's back. He's in the bullpen. Don't be surprised if he doesn't come to the major leagues, even though he's been a starter all year, and pitch out of the bullpen for the Cubs. He was dominant yesterday in an inning, high-velocity pitching with a good slider. Look for him. Nick Birdie pitched yesterday. He had an appendectomy. I had one of those on opening day. They suck. So just I'll tell you that right now. They stink, and I know that that's something that it takes a long time to get over. So I'm pulling for him just because I just went through it myself, and I hope that it went better for him than it did for me. Obviously, I'm here, but it was a couple months of hell. And then he had some kind of nerve issue in his arm, but he's back out there pitching and did a good job. And then Daniel Hudson, who I think is the most important guy of all 3, just because the Cubs don't have any options left-handed out of the bullpen other than Smiley, and he would give them that. And you guys know, you saw him last year, he can be really good. Now, Fulmer's in Arizona, from what I understand. So if he's in Arizona, then that I wouldn't count him on being back anytime soon. I mean, at least not right now. But I'll answer that, Jason. Great question. Nicholas, we wanted to know how deep this guy could go in the games. You guys on the message board, you're constantly just throwing him up there. We're talking about it. We know now he can pitch 8. If you need him to pitch 9, you could have. But with a big 5-0 lead, get him out of the game. You got this one in the bag, and feel good about everything. 8 innings. This wasn't a 1-0 game with no bullpen. This was a 5-0 game, and you could just tell that the Giants, whether it was the late night travel or whatever, were just absolutely gassed today. And also that Justin Steele just owned them from the very beginning. It was such a smooth, well-played baseball game. I love these games. This is what I love about baseball, is when you put 2 good starters on the mound. Webb was decent for the Giants, just ran out of gas when he got hit around in the 7th, gave up the home run to Suzuki. And Steele was dynamite in the start. But this is what baseball is supposed to be like. 2 good teams. I thought both teams played really, really solid defense. The Cubs have done that all year. And it was just a lot of fun to watch that game and see what happened. I mean, it's just great. Another comment here, Darren. Great win. Steele was nails. And this is I'm going to address this too. You got anything you guys want to talk about? Throw it up there. Candelario, I bring him up, and I've had a couple of people reach out to me quietly that follow the team, whatever. I don't want to give anybody's identity away, but they're kind of like, what? If you're going to pull the guy out of Iowa and put him in the big leagues, you got to find a spot for him to get in there. And I can remember, past Cubs managers where they didn't want guys sitting on the bench. Veteran managers, Joe Madden, if you're coming up, you're going to play. And part of that is just so that you feel like you're part of the team and that you don't have those nerves build up. You get up there and play the guy or don't call him up. And here's another game where, look, it was another close game. It's another kind of nail-biter game. But you got to find your spot for Canario to get into the game. And I'd like you. I'd like to see him get in at some point soon. And now all of a sudden he's been on the bench since, Friday, and he hasn't gotten in yet. And he's a weapon for the Cubs. And, maybe David Ross, because he hasn't seen him, doesn't know that, or maybe he just feels comfortable with the guys he has. I'm not a manager in the big leagues, but I do know that I've heard from Lou Piniella. He used to say this too. You're going to get a guy up there, get him in the game just so that they're not sitting around thinking about it. And, and they don't have time to think about it. Get him up there, let him play, at least let him pinch hit or something, right? I don't know why the guy hasn't played yet. You guys tell me what you think. I mean, that's just, my years around the game. That's, always something that, you wonder about. All right, Got to go with Steele over Snell. Padres have nothing to play for. We're kind of switching back over to the Cy Young Award. Yeah, look, every time people watch Justin Steele, it's a big game. So I feel like that, he's one of those guys who when you turn him on and you watch him, the Brewers have won 9 straight. You get him out there. Those games are a little different than just, blowout games. So, Gamer says Hendricks tomorrow, Wicks on Wednesday. I have to check that, but that sounds about right. Tomorrow's a night game. Wednesday's a day game. I like the way that the Cubs starters, besides Taillon, have pitched here lately. They give you a chance to win, and that's all you can ask for. And I'd like to see Taillon get there, and have that opportunity. All right, let me pull up the box score now, and let's just kind of take a look at that because, it was another one of those games where a lot of guys kind of dropping in and helping out and doing different things. And, here it is, and pull it up, and we'll kind of just look at it on the stream here together. Make it a little bigger for you guys. All right, look. Tachman at the top of the lineup. You can say what you want to say, but the guy wins. It seems like you put him in the game, and the Cubs record's great. Sorry, I had to grab my victory beer as we all hang out after a nice win at Wrigley. Nico 0 for 4, Hap 0 for 3, Belly doing belly things again. 1 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. He always finds a way to do something for the team at the plate. I mean, it's just crazy the way that he just always figures out a way to do stuff. I mean, he's one of my favorite players because of that. Just like you guys feeling the same way. It's like, how does he just continue to help the team out? Gomes Gomes in the 8th spot was great today. 2 for 3, had a run batted in. I'm becoming a big Yan Gomes fan. I'm sure a lot of you are as well. He is solid. I mean, and I guess when you had 3 catchers, Tucker Barnhart became expendable. And I think part of that was that Yan Gomes was just so good. Like, you just want him into the game, and Amaya's your prospect, and you needed the roster spot. So, I think that's one of the reasons why you could make that move going forward. All right, let's take a look at the standings now with the Cubs a winner today. And, what does that mean for the wild card? What does that mean for the division? Wild card standings, we just looked at it. I want to look at it one more time just to get a feel of what we're looking at. So the Cubs aren't too far behind the Phillies. I mean, I wouldn't count them totally out for maybe the top spot. I mean, look, they're only 2 games back, and they're playing great baseball at home. The teams behind them, Diamondbacks, will be in town for 4 this weekend, starting on Thursday, so a long weekend. Don't play the Marlins again. Don't play the Reds again. We just saw the Reds. Wasn't impressed with the Reds pitching, even though I thought they did a decent job against the Cubs in the series, a couple of those games. I just don't think they have enough pitching to overcome a huge, a big deficit. And I'm not impressed with the Marlins. Even though the Giants lost today, I think they're a pretty good team. And if I was putting my money down, I'd probably say them. Division race. Where are we at on the division race? Brewers still with a very comfortable lead, even after a win by the Cubs today. Throw that up there for you, and you guys can look at it as well. But 3 games. So, and they play later today, so, maybe you could get it to within 2.5. That gives you a fighting chance. I mean, more than a fighting chance. I mean, remember the last 3 games of the season are against the Brewers. So, this race, as long as you can keep it to within 3, is very much a race. So, that's why winning these games is so important. So anyway, all right. Well, that's where we are right now. Just a quick show. Don't forget, I've got the video out about the 3 guys that pitched yesterday in Iowa, kind of updating you on that. I'll continue to do that as well. If I hear anything, or if you guys have any questions, I mean, just put them in the comment section. I do try to read all of them, and then I'll use my sources to try to figure out exactly what's going on. Like I didn't. It was one of you guys that said, "Hey, did you know that so and so was pitching last night in Iowa?" And I start digging in, and it's like not only that, there's 3 guys that could possibly come and help the Cubs that were pitching last night in Iowa. So those are all really important outings, just because the way that things went in the 9th inning against Cincinnati on Friday night and Saturday, you need as much pitching as you can get moving down the stretch. Here's a great comment. And look, this kind of goes back to something I was just talking about. King J Bird 92. I thought Gomes would be a downgrade after Contreras left. Gomes has been solid, and the Cardinals have ruined Wilson. Yeah, I first off, I got to tell you my Wilson Contreras story. Toast to the Cubs today. I broadcasted the games in spring training 2020 in Las Vegas for Marquee. I got to fly out there with the team on the charter, and Willie saw me, and we're all in line, going into the hotel, and he broke out of line and just like gave me this big hug, like, man, because I'd been in the minors and I still am for a long time. I love him, man. I mean, I want to see him do well just as a person. Forget about him being on the Cardinals. I'm not a Cardinal, we're not Cardinals guys, but they're still your friends and you wish him the best. Obviously it didn't work out with the Cubs, and I've heard different, reasons why. Maybe, David Ross wasn't really impressed with some of the things that he did. I don't know, but David Ross was a great catcher. Maybe not a great baseball player, but he was a great catcher. He was a mediocre player, but he was a great catcher, and he knows the game really well. And maybe he kind of had the vision of a Yan Gomes type guy behind the plate, but Gomes has done everything you can ask for. I mean, it's really smart. He's a leader. And so I'm not even comparing those two guys. I'm just saying, like, Yan Gomes has been tremendous. And, kind of where we were at a second ago, he's been so much fun to watch. And he's got just this big personality. I met him. He's a University of Tennessee baseball alumni. I met him at one of their banquets a few years ago. And he's just exudes character and personality. He's a really fun guy. So good for him. Justin says Suzuki, I thought, had second on that second hit, but is playing very, very good baseball. We need Tok and Swanson and Morel badly down the stretch. Look, this is the hard part about a season like this, where we are right now, is that some of these guys are worn out. I mean, this is a lot of baseball. You get injuries, you play through them. For the Cubs, they really got to have Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, Nico Horner in the lineup every day. Ian Happ's been a player who has struggled, but he's in the lineup every day. So you don't know what kind of injuries they're dealing with or whatever, but it's important for those guys to to keep up and do their thing. I don't even know why I'm going to put this up on the screen just because you're making me laugh. But I did read the comments. Anyway, look, that does it for this show. All we were doing is just talking about what a great win it was for the Cubs and setting things up for tomorrow. And I guess that'd be where we leave off and just kind of look ahead to tomorrow's game. The Cubs have the Giants again tomorrow. It'll be a night game. And you're right, Kyle Hendricks against TBA. So we don't know who's going to pitch for San Francisco, but we knew Kyle Hendricks is out there. 5-7 record, a 3.59 ERA for Hendricks. He just continues to go out there and give you all he's got. He pitches under, it's like he pitches under bat speed these days, but it doesn't matter. With this great defense, all he's got to do is just get weak contact and let the guys go get the ball. And that's what he's done, and that's what's been great. Hey, again, if you are not a subscriber, please do subscribe to the channel. If you're a Cubs fan, tell your friends about it. Tell them to come and hang out. We'll keep throwing up videos and hanging out with you guys. Great win today, 5-0 for the Cubs. Just a lot of fun. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, and make sure you check out the video that we just threw up there about the the three guys that threw in Iowa and what that could mean to the bullpen. I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging, guys. Sam Valente, awesome job, my friend, behind the scenes. Go Cubs.